Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So, something we all unfortunately know in the reality in which we have to live is that Donald Trump is currently, once again, the president of the United States, the most influential country in the world. How fun and good is that? Yay. And he is in this position despite, being a convicted felon and having no political background other than somehow being president already. He clearly has a lot of supporters. Obviously, he won the popular vote, as far as I'm aware. He won the popular vote and obviously is president. He got voted for. And a lot of people who voted for him are people who did so, not in their best interest, he is not the person for the people. The Republican Party is not the party for the people. They are not great when it comes to minorities and oppressed groups, and yet we find a fair few of them voting for and openly advocating for Trump. Now, last week I did a video about this, conservative queers and gays for Trump, which is so fun, super good. And today I wanted to focus more specifically on this one woman named Riley Gaines, who is a very vocal content creator who talks about Trump, who has a few 100,000 followers, and also speaks at Trump rallies. She makes appearances on news programs, she does interviews, and she has had conversations with Trump and attends Trump events as an important person. And obviously, her being a woman makes her voting for Trump against her best interest. Obviously, she doesn't want to view it that way. And one of her biggest things is, ironically, her biggest thing is wanting to protect women. So she voted for the convicted sexual predator. Protecting women. One of the main things she does and has talked about recently in this category is banning trans women from women's sports. She speaks about that a lot, and we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to show you this ad. This is an ad that is somehow supposedly an ad for keeping trans women out of women's sports. But before I do show it to you, please don't forget to hit subscribe if you are not already. 50% of you are regular viewers but are not subscribed, and I would love if you checked. And also don't forget to leave a like and comment while you're down there. It really helps me out. Yeah, okay, so now that I've baited you into thinking I was about to show you a video, I will actually show you the video now.
Riley Gaines and Sia Leahy are in hot water over their transphobic comments, and I just gotta say, who cares if biological males play in women's sports? Just be inclusive.
Could not agree more. This is just a bunch of fear-mongering from right-wing bigots.
I'm just gonna say it, she's a bigot.
She's been a massive distraction from her team with her hate-filled rhetoric. Sia is not inclusive. And males invading women's sports isn't even a problem, as far as I'm concerned.
These female athletes just need to work harder.
And not blame others for their lack of success.
Transphobe.
As the captain, Sia is very much responsible for these boycotts, which have cost her team a playoff bid.
Guess we'll see how Sia handles all that pressure tonight.
The caption on this says, "New ad about protecting women's sports just dropped." And the entire ad is just her being sad about people calling her a bigot. So it's obviously comments being like, I don't understand why she's making a big deal. She's such a bigot about it. And then in between that, showing women practicing their sports. There's, what other sports? Boxing, there's gymnastics, more specifically the beam for artistic gymnastics, volleyball, running, I don't know, just working out at the gym, I suppose. And I'm so confused as to what point this was trying to prove. In what way does this act as an advertisement against trans women and women's sports? Like, what are we going for here? Because you didn't show me any existence of trans women and women's sports. You didn't show me how that is having a negative effect. You didn't show me like anything. For all I know, these are all trans women. Like, you haven't. You just said, I'm getting bullied for being a bigot and it's so hard being me. Look how hard women work and we're being bullied for it. Trans women work equally as hard as cis women. Everyone here is working hard. And the best way to not be bullied about being a bigot is to just like not be a bigot. Just throwing that out there. I also find it so fascinating to me. Like, it's so interesting to me that one of the sports she chose to use in this ad is a sport that men do not compete in. Artistic gymnastics, like the beam, that is not something that men participate in because it doesn't work for their build, their center of gravity. That is a woman's sport. No man is beating a woman in the beam. A trans woman, absolutely, because a trans woman has been like training for that and practicing for that, working for that. That's like something that they do, but no man is coming off the streets to beat a woman at beam. It's not happening. No man is like, you know what I'm easily gonna beat a woman at? Artistic gymnastics. No, that's not happening. That's just not something that is going to happen. It's not a sport where men exceed. I feel like you definitely should use a different example. Not that any of them are good examples, but that's possibly the worst one you could have used. Like, that's really funny to me. And just in general, different people are better at different sports. Everyone works at a different level. Some people are more qualified than others. This isn't like a gendered thing. That's just a life body thing. We are all built differently and have different strengths. So yeah, what I got from this ad is that you're upset people are calling you a bigot and women work hard. Stop being a bigot. It's problem solved. And
I'm thrilled with the passage of H.R. 28, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. But truthfully, I'm mad. I'm mad that this is something we have to do. I'm mad that we as women have to beg for equal rights. I'm mad that we have to beg for privacy in areas of undressing. And I'm mad that we have to beg for safety on the court or on the field or walking in the streets at night, for that matter. No more hiding behind these phrases and taglines that the Democrats use, saying they're for women's rights. Go back and look at who voted in support of the Lake and Riley Act. Look at who voted in support of protecting women and girls in sports. And if they were no on one or both, then they do not get to say they support women. The American people spoke on November 5th. The common sense, everyday Americans who intuitively know that men and women are different. We reject this notion. While I certainly believe people turned out to the polls to embrace Donald Trump, to embrace his cabinet picks, to embrace the America First agenda, more so, truthfully, I believe that people turned out to the polls on November 5th to reject absurdity. And that is entirely and thoroughly what the Democratic Party has become, absurd. Whether it's feeling like you have to refer to Latino individuals as Latinx, believing that men can become women, believing that men can breastfeed, believing that tampons belong in boys' bathrooms, entirely and thoroughly absurd.
I think it's so funny for you to sit here and say, we don't care about women's safety when you voted for a known sexual predator. You voted for a man who has sexually harassed and assaulted multiple women. And you are out here being like, it's unfair that women feel afraid out on the streets at night. Firstly, what's that got to do with anything? You're so right, it is unfair. And you want to know who all those predators fucking voted for? What has trans people got to do with women feeling unsafe at night? Trans women are one of the most affected groups of violence that occurs. You cannot be sitting here and somehow making it trans people's fault that men like to prey on women. You voted for a sexual, you literally voted one of them into power. A lot of the people in his cabinet are also sexual predators. A lot of the people who voted for him also are. I'm so confused by this take. I do not understand how you can sit here and accuse us of not wanting to protect women when you actively are voting for someone who is quite literally attacking women. Taking trans women out of protected spaces for women is also causing harm to women because trans women are women, and forcing them to go into spaces that are not for them, such as men's spaces, men's changing rooms and things, that is going to lead to violence towards them. That is wishing harm upon people just because you don't understand them. I'm sorry you don't understand what being trans means and what that looks like, but that is not their problem. That is your problem. Most trans people also are not getting changed out in the open because they don't want to deal with people like you. So a lot of the time they are going into stalls and getting changed because they don't want to have to deal with whatever bullshit you are going to throw their way because they don't feel safe in those bathrooms. A lot of trans women do not feel safe in women's spaces because of people like you. You are in the privileged group when it comes to women, you know? Yes, we are all still asking for equal rights. This is so true. And the person you voted for is not the person who's going to help make a difference to that. Also, putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. Why do you care? Why do you care? What does it have to do with you? I don't understand being here. It's so unfair that women feel unsafe at night. How dare you put tampons in the boys' bathrooms? What? And voting on the Laken Riley Act as well. That's an act to detain and deport illegal immigrants. And that is not about women's rights. That is not about protecting women. That is a separate issue. And we will get into that a little bit more as this video goes because she mentions it a fair bit. So let's carry on.
If you were to look up the word grooming in the dictionary, this is exactly what you would see.
She went with her family to the doctor, and the doctor said that she's a girl, and everyone should see her and treat her like a girl, treat her with respect and be nice to her. But can I ask you one more question? So that journey that she had from people thinking she was a boy and the fact that Jazz knew she was a girl to her parents and her friends accepting her as the girl that she is, that journey is called being transgender.
If you don't know who that is Congressman Sarah McBride. Of course, a man who now identifies as a woman. This member of Congress showed up to a kindergarten class to read the book Julian is a Mermaid to a bunch of 5-6-year-old kids. I have so many questions. Number one, did the parents know that this was going to be happening at their child's school? And if they did, and they still sent their kids to school, are we sure these parents are fit to be parents? Not to mention, you don't see Congressman McBride sitting in front of a group of grown adults telling them that it's good to be transgender. I don't care what your political beliefs are. If you are someone who believes that kids should be hearing the message that they're correct to feel as if they were born in the wrong body, or that there's something wrong with who God so intentionally and uniquely created them to be in his perfect image, then you are part of the problem. Leave the kids alone.
I love at the end effectively just being this was all for religious reasons. Not all of us believe in God. If you are telling your kids it's okay to be different to how God created you, my family don't believe in God. That's so irrelevant to anything about my entire existence. But that aside, oh no, oh dear, I cannot believe they're teaching the kids that it's okay to be themselves. It's okay to respect people. That's such a disgusting lesson to be teaching kids. Empathy, respect, individuality. All this is doing is telling kids it is okay to be yourself. And if someone else is different, be kind to them. It's teaching kids not to bully people, and it's teaching them it's okay to be yourself. It is teaching acceptance. It is teaching respect. That is all this is. I don't know if you know what grooming is, but I think telling your kids there's only one way to exist, and if you exist outside of that box, they will be punished. They will be shunned. They are going against God. They will go to hell. That's much more grooming than just telling kids, hey, be yourself. I had this conversation with my mom when I was this age, maybe younger, because I asked about it. I was told, you know, like there are some people who are born in the wrong body. There are some girls who think they're boys or vice versa, whatever. I don't remember exactly how the conversation went. I just know I was a curious child and I asked about it. I think there was a trans person on America's Next Top Model when I was a bit older. There was like trans people around, someone I went to school with at primary school. And like, I had this conversation with my mom and basically it was like, some people are born girls, now they're boys. Some people are born boys, now they're girls. That was kind of like how the conversation went. And you know what my small child brain did? I was like, okay. And I carried on with my life. It didn't change anything. All I knew was that some people are different and that's okay. Sometimes people are going to change. And that's okay. There's no reason for me to disrespect anyone for anything about themselves. That's how I've always been. And it's never played with my mind or my emotions. It's never confused me. I've never questioned my gender. I've been a cis woman my entire life. And having that conversation when I was very young did not alter that. Maybe if that is a way that I felt, I would have then been able to be like, oh, I can express that. And that's okay. That's not something I've ever felt. So it didn't impact me in the way, it didn't brainwash me into being trans. It just told me what that meant and had me be like, that's not me, but cool for other people. That's it. That's it. I don't know why you think this is brainwashing. I don't know why you think that this is grooming and bad when your entire thing is being like, you have to follow this strict set of beliefs and follow God. And like that, and that's okay? How's that better? Like, I don't understand at all why you think that what you're doing is better when it is inherently so much more harmful. You are teaching bigotry. This is teaching acceptance.
My question to Democratic leadership is how in the world can you claim to defend what you can't even define? They say they are for women's rights. When they say that, understand they're talking about the women's ability to dismember and abort a developing child in the womb. They use phrases like reproductive rights and healthcare freedom. Yeah, but where was that healthcare freedom during COVID? They didn't believe in bodily autonomy when it came to injecting yourself with an experimental, ineffective vaccine that has zero credibility. They were the tyrants who fired healthcare workers, school teachers, U.S. military members for not complying with their autocratic mandates. They don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in free expression. That's been made very clear by the compelled speech portion of Title IX. The government now gets to decide what is hate speech and what is misinformation. They don't believe in school choice. They don't believe in parental rights or the safeguarding of children. They don't believe in freedom, unless it is the freedom to murder a baby or the freedom to chemically or surgically castrate children.
You sound like an idiot. Firstly, as established, I will not take any Trump supporter seriously when they say they care about women and protecting women. Instantly, nothing you say has any validity. Everything you say is completely null. You voted for a sex offender, you don't give a single shit about women. The my body, my choice thing. It's so funny how they do not understand how that applies to the COVID vaccine. I'm going to try to explain this in slow terms. Okay, so basically, right, my body, my choice. If I were to get an abortion, that is affecting me. That is affecting my body and no one else's. It does not impact a single other person in my life or any people I come in contact with or anyone who they come in contact with. Nothing. Just me, only my body. The COVID vaccine, if I don't get that, if I make the choice that I don't want that, I am potentially negatively affecting everyone around me at any given point, and then everyone around them at any given point, then anyone around, it's exponential. It's everyone you come in contact with, and then who they come in contact with, who they come in contact with, etc. And how many vulnerable people are within that group? A lot. You are potentially endangering like countless lives because you made the choice that you didn't want to do something. That is not your body, your choice. That is you making a choice for a number of people's bodies, like so many other people's bodies. Sure, you can make the choice, I don't care if I get COVID, it's not that big a deal. But that is then making you make the choice that you don't care about getting other people sick, because most of these people also didn't like masks and didn't like lockdown. That is not a choice for your body. That is a choice for thousands of other bodies. We pretty much like completely eradicated like what? Measles, mumps, tuberculosis, like all of that because polio, because of vaccines, right? Like that is a thing that we all do and it has eradicated diseases. And you're out here being like, but like, I don't want to because I don't get sick. That's because of vaccines. Those diseases don't exist anymore. So like, we don't need to, that's because of vaccines. Vaccines have been such an important and vital part in medicine. And so many people from any other time period and in many other countries would love to have vaccines. And the fact you're here like, but like it's putting chemicals in my, shut the fuck up. I don't care. You don't understand how this works. And also, if you are anti my body, my choice in the terms of abortion, because you're like, you are ending the innocent life of an unborn child, then surely you should be pro-vaccine, because by not being vaccinated, you are potentially ending the lives of many fully grown people and babies who are already born and existing. But it's never been about anyone other than you and your superiority complex. All of it is just a fucking ruse, and you don't actually care about anything other than control.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't.
I must have missed the video that Selena Gomez made uncontrollably sobbing when Laken Riley died. Your net worth is $1.3 billion. Why don't you allow some of these illegals to live in your mansion with you? Let me show you just a few people that Selena Gomez is crying for and the crimes that they've committed in this country. Here's one, and another, and another. Seen enough yet? That's only 4 of thousands. Again, where was that empathy for Laken Riley, who fought for 18 excruciating minutes for her life? All of this to say, remember the people who post videos of themselves uncontrollably sobbing for the criminals that are being sent back to their own countries, but stay totally silent when innocent American lives are lost to these same criminals.
Selena Gomez is not a good person. She's a billionaire. We don't really need any more information or any more context to anything about her to know that she is not a good person. But I don't think that these things are comparable. I don't think that using Selena Gomez here helps your case in any way at all. I think that it is completely valid for a woman to be crying over seeing, you know, people being deported en masse when there is nothing she can do about it. Yes, she has $1.3 billion, which she shouldn't have. She should be using better by like, you know, paying her employees and helping in cases. In this case, I don't really think her money can do anything, and I don't think it's fair to be putting that entirely on her shoulders. But regardless, it's not comparable, because here's the thing. I love when the right, when they use one person to center their entire conversation around, right? Like, this is the one name she brings up constantly. She's never brought up, she doesn't bring up another name, she doesn't talk about anyone else. She talks about this one woman who, yes, it is an absolute tragedy what happened, but then making it the fault of every illegal immigrant, and then using examples of, like, I think she put 4 different immigrants who have committed crimes up on the screen and being like, have you seen enough? There are thousands of them. They have to be deported. Not all illegal immigrants are criminals. They are not all committing crimes. Most of them are just trying to live their lives. Most illegal immigrants are actually only illegal because their visas have expired. Because, like, I don't know the visa process in the US, but I know that here they are a massive bitch. Once they expire, it can be so difficult to get them renewed. And then it can be so difficult coming back and, like, finding a new job and a new place to live. Like, your life is here and you can be forced to leave for, like, several months and you don't have anywhere else to go. Like, visas are expensive. They're a pain in the fucking ass. And it makes sense for so many people to just have them expire. And that is a majority of illegal immigrants. And most of them are not criminals. And need I point out to you that most criminals are not illegal immigrants. Most criminals in the States are American. And you're here being like, why did no celebrities come out here and sob over this woman that was murdered? Why is no one talking about it? Why don't you come online and sob and cry whenever there is a mass shooting? Why don't you come online and cry whenever there is a school shooting that happens? You don't, because it doesn't align with your political agenda. You only care when it pushes an agenda that you have. People talked about this on both sides, on all sides, but the difference is that we didn't blame illegal immigrants. We blamed a bad person. And that has nothing to do with where he came from and the fact he was in the country illegally. That's not relevant to the crime that he committed. You are just racist and xenophobic and trying to use a tragedy to push that. And that's fucked up. You shouldn't use tragedy to push a political agenda like that. And then, like, you know, you can come out here and say that we martyr people as well, right? Like, it's 2025 now, and the right will always still constantly bring up George Floyd, right? Because he was obviously a big figurehead in when the BLM movement like picked up a lot of ground back in 2020. But there was still so many names said alongside that, and there are still so many names that come up and get added to the list and that are constantly brought up in relation to talking about pushing for more equality and like law enforcement being reformed and actual big changes to the system that have positive outcomes. Whereas you sit here and you use one woman's name over and over again to spread hatred. It's fucked up. It's fucked up and it's upsetting and frustrating. On a similar vein, she made this TikTok as well.
All right, by now you have probably seen the video of, or at least heard about, the woman who was asleep on the subway in New York City who was quite literally burned alive by an illegal immigrant. But imagine a man literally walking up to a woman asleep on the subway with a lighter, lighting her clothes on fire, exiting the subway, and watching her burn to death. When I saw the video, there were a couple things that struck me. Number one, just the sheer amount of bystanders there were. There was even a police officer, an NYPD police officer who watched this woman stay on fire, watched the perpetrator get off the subway and did nothing. Did not intervene in the slightest.
Now, me personally, with this take right here, this immediately in my brain goes, fuck cops. Fuck cops. Her, though, somehow, she goes on to make this the fault of the left, not the individual cop. Cops are still good. We love cops. But it's somehow our fault. And we'll get into that. But I just needed to take a pause here to say, like, I have no idea how you can watch that happen and say that and then still not hate cops.
And I know it's easier, of course, when you're not in that situation, but I was just thinking to myself, why did no one do anything? And then I remembered why. This is exactly why no one did anything.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you, like, actually for real kidding me right now? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Daniel Penny is the U.S. Marine who likely saved many lives from a 42-time convicted homeless drug addict on that same New York City subway system. But for his heroic actions, he went through a year and a half of political persecution, slanderous and defamatory media headlines, and he was on the receiving end of our corrupt Department of Justice.
He literally killed someone. He literally killed someone.
Only by the grace of God and with God's favor was Daniel Penny ultimately acquitted and proven innocent by the jury. So as a woman, let me be the first one to say, thank you, Daniel Penny. We need more men like you, and we need mass deportations, and we needed them yesterday.
This makes me so mad. Like, this makes me so unbelievably, unspeakably mad. The reason no one did anything, the reason people didn't help her was not because they were afraid they would get in trouble for doing something like putting out the fire or holding him back. That is not why they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything because the woman who was set on fire was homeless, and people don't like homeless people. This opened up a whole conversation on Twitter where people were genuinely being like, well, homeless people shouldn't be on the train. Homeless people are stinking up the train, and I don't think they should be there. They shouldn't be allowed in public spaces. I think that it's unfair that homeless people go on the train because they smell bad, and it makes me uncomfortable because I don't want to be trapped in a small space where someone smells bad. Maybe she shouldn't have been sleeping on the train. And those are takes that come from your side. Those are takes from people on your side. You are the one who is voting against the welfare of homeless people. You are someone who does not like homeless people and will not help them. And that is why they didn't step in. Not because the man who did it was an immigrant, which they wouldn't even know, by the way. It's because they don't give a shit about women or homeless people, and definitely not homeless women. And for you to sit here and say that the correct response would have been to kill the man that did it on the spot in order to protect people, instead of put out the fire, is insane. It's like actually fucking ridiculous of you to say. Daniel Penny literally killed someone. He didn't have to do that. He could have restrained the man without killing him. And you're happy that he killed him just because you hate illegal immigrants. What about all the American citizens who commit atrocities like this? Do you know how many instances of like straight up sexual assault and even rape have happened in subway cars in front of an audience? It happens regularly. The amount of assaults that happen to women on trains that are going to be being done by American citizens with witnesses is astounding. But you don't say anything because you don't care. Problem isn't illegal immigrants. It's that there are a lot of men who think they have more power than they do. There are a lot of men who love to take advantage of women and love to force their power over people. It is not exclusive to immigrants. It is not exclusive to anyone. They are just bad people. Mass deportations will not stop crime. This shit will continue to happen no matter what you do. This shit will continue to happen no matter how many people you deport. That's not going to fix the problem. That just creates new ones. And like, she loves to sit here and talk about how it's unfair that so many American citizens are attacked by illegal immigrants, but not taking into consideration how many immigrants are hurt. Like, they are victims of hate crimes more than white people are. Like, they are going to be hurt and facing discrimination of all sorts in so many more ways than most American citizens would be. All of these violent acts are bad no matter who is committing them, and all of them are bad no matter who is affected by them.
I feel like this needs to be said, so I'm going to say it. If in the year 2025 you are still wearing a face mask, it's probably just because you're ugly. Repeat after me. I am wearing a face mask because I'm ugly, not because I'm actually scared of contracting or spreading COVID. So literally the only reason why a normal person who doesn't have any sort of underlying conditions, the only reason why someone would wear a face mask in the year 2025 is because you're hideous.
Hey, did you know that people aren't wearing masks for aesthetic purposes and to make you happy? And did you know that what other people choose to wear actually has nothing to do with you? And that some people would just rather not get sick, and wearing a mask does indeed help you from not getting sick. So people just do that because they prefer not to, and also it has nothing to do with you. I don't know why how other people present bothers you so much, but it really is none of your business at all. Someone else wearing a mask makes absolutely no difference to your life. What you think of them doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. Wearing masks has been around since before COVID, and it will stick around for a long time after COVID too. And it's got nothing to do with you. If you don't like it, don't do it. But the fact you feel the need to go online and be like, all of you wearing masks look so stupid, okay? Nobody asked and nobody cares. If you don't like it, don't do it. Like, I don't know why it bothers you so much. And it also can like help keep your face warm when it's cold. Like, if you're wearing a mask outside in the cold air, it's actually so nice. It's like when you wear a scarf and you pull it up over your nose because the warm air like goes back and warms up your face. And also obviously it's not letting the cold get to your face. Like wearing a like balaclava or whatever, like it keeps your face warm. It's cold right now. And wearing a mask is helpful. It makes the air you're breathing in warmer. It keeps your face warm. It's just a comfortable thing to do. I don't typically ever wear masks anymore, but sometimes when I'm outside on a cold day, I'd be like, damn, it'd be so good to have a mask in my pocket right now because my face is freezing. So, you know, I think people wearing masks are smarter than all of us in the sense that they are caring about their own well-being and the well-being of others. And also because their faces aren't going to be freezing off when it's cold outside. So I think points to them. This woman has so many ridiculous takes. I feel like so many of these Trump supporters truly just absolutely, they just chat shit and they don't know half the shit they're saying. They just regurgitate what they're told. Trump will say something and they will just match it. They will just say the same thing back. They don't know what it means. They don't care about what it means. And Trump doesn't particularly either. It's just this weird echo chamber of bouncing nonsense back and forth. And all it does is hurt people and they don't care. Trump has done a lot in the very short amount of time that he has been president. And I'm sure there will not be a shortage of content like this for me to make. Please do leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on all of this because I'm curious to hear them. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. M.A. Ping the Games, Blue Kitsune 24, Ash, Uh-Oh It's Craiglow, Phil the Duck, Jessie, Phenomenally, River, Mr. Noodle, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Lady Nutbar, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Chris, Ellie, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For only £1 a month, you get my videos several days early and ad-free for those days. And then for £3 and up, you get more. Yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes